Mysterious woman crashes a wedding claiming to be the real bride. The wedding hall was buzzing with laughter, clinking glasses, and the soft melody of a string quartet. Golden decorations shimmered under the warm lights, and the scent of fresh flowers hung in the air. Everyone's eyes were on the bride, Clara, as she glided down the aisle in her flowing white gown, her smile radiant, her hand clutching the bouquet nervously. Suddenly, a hush fell over the room. A woman appeared at the entrance, her eyes sharp, her stance unwavering. She was breathtaking, but the shock came instantly. She looked exactly like Clara. Every feature mirrored the bride, the same chestnut hair, the same hazel eyes, the same delicate smile. I am the real Clara, the woman said, her voice steady but trembling just enough to make the guests lean in. The woman standing there, she's not me. Murmurs erupted in the crowd. Guests exchanged confused glances, some whispering, some gasping aloud. The groom, David, froze mid-step, his hands tightening around the bouquet. What are you talking about? Clara's voice wavered, a mix of fear and anger. Her cheeks flushed crimson. This is ridiculous. You have no right to. I have every right, the woman interrupted, stepping closer, her gaze locked on David. I am the one he promised, the one he loved before anyone tried to erase me from his life. David's face paled. Clara, this can't be real. How is this even possible? His voice cracked, betraying the storm of emotions he was trying to suppress. The crowd's whispers grew louder, a mix of awe, fear, and disbelief. Some guests pulled out their phones, snapping pictures, while others just stared, frozen in shock. Clara took a step forward, her voice louder now, trembling with anger. You're lying. I've been with David for months. Everyone here knows me. Everyone believes me. The other woman shook her head, tears glinting in her eyes. No. They don't know the truth. They never knew me. But I am here now, and you can't stop me. A deafening silence followed. Even the musicians had stopped playing. David looked from one woman to the other, his mind racing, heart pounding. He wanted to speak, to explain, to calm the chaos, but the words caught in his throat. The room felt smaller, suffocating, as though time itself had frozen. Every guest sensed that the wedding they had come to celebrate had just shattered into pieces, and the truth, or maybe a lie, was about to explode in front of them all. David swallowed hard, finally finding his voice, though it trembled. Both of you? I don't understand. How is this possible? The mysterious woman, her hands trembling slightly, took a deep breath. It's simple, David. I'm the woman you loved before everything went wrong. I trusted you, and you promised we'd be together. But then, I disappeared, and someone took my place. And now, I'm here to reclaim what's mine. Clara's eyes narrowed, her voice sharp, cutting through the stunned murmurs. Claim what's yours? This is my wedding. I've known David for months. We planned this day together. How dare you? Before she could finish, the mysterious woman stepped closer, her presence magnetic, almost like the room itself had shifted toward her. I'm not here to fight. I'm here to show the truth. Look at us. Look at us, David. Tell me you don't see me. David's hands shook as he ran them through his hair. His heart pounded like a drum in his chest. He had loved Clara, yes, but there was something hauntingly familiar about this woman. Something he couldn't ignore. Guests were on the edge of their seats, whispers turning into stunned silence. Some were holding their drinks, frozen mid-sip. A little girl tugged at her mother's dress, her eyes wide. Mom, are they the same person? The mysterious woman's voice softened, almost a whisper, but the emotion cut through the hall like a knife. I waited for you, David. I never stopped loving you. And I never left by choice. But now, I need you to remember. David's knees went weak. Memories he had buried surfaced, laughter in the rain, stolen glances in crowded streets, promises whispered at midnight. They weren't memories of Clara, they were hers. Clara's face paled. She reached for David's hand, but he stepped back, eyes wide, caught in a storm of confusion and guilt. David, say something, she demanded, her voice cracking. This is insane. The mysterious woman's eyes glistened with unshed tears. I know it's hard. But you'll remember, soon. You have to. Before it's too late. A loud gasp echoed from the crowd as someone whispered, it's like she's a twin or something. The tension was unbearable. Everyone waited for David to speak, for him to choose, for the truth to come out. And in that moment, the entire hall held its breath, knowing that nothing would ever be the same again. David's eyes darted between the two women. His chest tightened, his throat dry. I don't know what to say, he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. I thought I remembered everything. The mysterious woman stepped closer, gently placing her hand over his. It's okay, David. You were tricked. Someone wanted me gone. Someone wanted you to forget. But I never left. I never stopped loving you. Clara's composure cracked. She stumbled backward, her hands clutching her gown. Stop it. Stop lying. David, look at me. I am here, I am real. Everything we built, everything we shared, it's real. David's vision blurred. Memories he had buried, memories he thought were his with Clara, now twisted in his mind. There was laughter, yes, but whose laughter? Shared nights, whispered promises, the warmth of hands. Suddenly they felt foreign, yet achingly familiar when he looked at the mysterious woman. A guest, a middle-aged man in a suit, whispered to the person next to him, "It's like seeing a ghost, she's identical." Others nodded, murmuring, glancing nervously at one another. Phones were out. Cameras clicked. Social media feeds were about to explode with this moment. The mysterious woman's eyes filled with tears, but her voice was steady, almost commanding. I didn't come here to take your day away, Clara. I came for truth. Everyone deserves to know who I am. And David, you deserve to remember who we were. Clara's knees shook. She sank into a chair, her mouth opening and closing as if the words she wanted to scream had been stolen. But, how? How is this possible? Why now? David's hand hovered between the two women, trembling. He felt paralyzed, torn between his loyalty, his memories, and a love that refused to stay buried. Suddenly, the mysterious woman pulled out a small, worn photograph from her pocket. She held it high. This was us. Years ago. Before anyone tried to erase me. Before everything changed. Look at it, David. Do you remember now? The room went utterly silent. Every guest leaned in, eyes wide, some whispering, some holding their hands over their mouths. David's eyes locked on the photo. His hands shook violently. Sweat ran down his temple. And in that instant, a shiver of recognition ran through him, a memory he hadn't known he still carried, a love he hadn't known he still felt. Tears welled up in both women's eyes as David's gaze flickered between them. The hall held its breath, waiting for a choice that might shatter lives forever. And in that frozen moment, the wedding, the celebration, and all the joy felt distant, replaced by a storm of secrets, betrayal, and truths that demanded to be faced. David's hands trembled as he stared at the photograph. The edges were frayed, the colors faded, but the faces were unmistakable. He felt his chest tighten as memories flooded back, late-night conversations under the city lights, laughter echoing through quiet streets, the brush of her hand against his. It wasn't Clara. It had to be her. Clara's voice broke through his thoughts, sharp and desperate. David, say something. Look at me. This isn't real. The mysterious woman, tears streaking down her face, stepped closer, her voice low but filled with raw emotion. I know it's hard. I know you don't remember everything yet. But I'm not lying. I never stopped loving you, David. And someone tried to take me away, someone wanted me erased from your life. A murmur ran through the crowd. Erased? What does she mean? Whispered a guest near the back. Phones captured every second, ready to broadcast the chaos online. David's mind raced. He remembered flashes, an accident, a letter he never opened, a hand reaching out for him that he thought was Clara's, but now he wasn't sure. Who did this? His voice cracked. The mysterious woman's eyes hardened, her lips trembling. Your so-called friend, your trusted advisor. He wanted everything for himself. He swapped our lives, tried to erase me, and placed her in my place. He made everyone, including you, forget me. Clara's face drained of color. What? That's insane. Who would do such a thing? And why bring this here, now? David's hands shook violently. His heart felt like it was tearing in two directions. One part clinging to the life he built with Clara, the other pulled toward the woman in front of him, the woman who was more than a stranger, more than a reflection. She was his past, his truth, the missing piece of his life. The mysterious woman stepped forward, her voice breaking, yet commanding. David, you have to choose. Not me, not her, yourself. You have to remember who you are, who we were, before it's too late. The wedding hall held its breath. Guests whispered, phones recorded, and the string quartet had stopped, leaving only the tense silence between three hearts torn apart by a secret long buried. David closed his eyes, trying to make sense of the storm in his chest. Every memory, every laugh, every promise collided at once. And then, just as he was about to speak, there was a sudden knock at the door. The hall went silent again. Every eye turned. And in that moment, everyone knew, whatever truth had just begun to surface was far from over. Something even bigger was coming. The knock at the door echoed through the hall, sharp and deliberate. Everyone froze. Guests glanced nervously at each other, whispers spreading like wildfire. David slowly opened his eyes. Who could that be? He murmured, his voice barely audible. The mysterious woman's gaze hardened. It's him. The one who did this. The one who tried to erase me. Before anyone could react, the door swung open. A tall man in a tailored suit stepped inside, his expression calm, almost too calm. Mr. Langford, David's longtime advisor, his presence commanding the room. The crowd instinctively parted, sensing the tension radiating from him. David, Langford said smoothly, his voice eerily controlled. I see the confusion. I see the shock. And yes, I see her. He nodded slightly toward the mysterious woman, his eyes cold. I suppose now, it's time the truth comes out. Clara clutched David's arm, her face pale and trembling. What truth? What have you done? She demanded. Langford's lips curled into a faint, chilling smile. Everything, he said simply. Years ago, I orchestrated a mistake. A disappearance. I made her vanish, replaced her with another. I did it for, well, let's just say I wanted to protect everyone from the truth, but perhaps I overstepped. Gasps rippled through the room. Phones clicked, capturing every word. Guests whispered, some shaking their heads in disbelief, others staring wide-eyed at the unfolding chaos. David stepped forward, his voice low but firm. Why? Why would you do this? For what? Langford's eyes were icy. Power, control, love, perhaps? Sometimes we believe we know what's best for someone, even when they don't. I thought I could manage everything. Keep the peace. Keep David safe. But I see now. I failed. The mysterious woman's hands shook as she clenched her fists. Safe? You erased my life. You tried to steal the only love I had. You destroyed everything. Her voice cracked, shaking with fury and grief. Clara, still gripping David's arm, finally shouted, Enough. Everyone stop. This is insane. My wedding, my life, is being ruined by lies from the past. David's head spun, emotions colliding inside him. Anger, fear, heartbreak, longing, all at once. He looked at the two women, one his present, one his past, one the embodiment of everything he thought he knew, and one the truth he had almost forgotten. Langford stepped closer, his calm demeanor now tinged with arrogance. The choice is yours, David. Face the truth. Face the consequences. Or continue living a lie. The hall fell silent. Even the string quartet, now hidden behind the curtains, had stopped entirely. The air was heavy, suffocating, electric. David's hands shook. His mind screamed, memories collided, and his heart refused to choose. The guests watched, frozen in anticipation, as the moment of decision, the moment that would change lives forever, hung suspended in the air. And then? David exhaled, slowly, his eyes locking with the mysterious woman. A single word escaped his lips, trembling yet determined. I remember. David's words hung in the air like a thunderclap. I remember. The mysterious woman's eyes welled with tears. Finally, she whispered, her voice barely audible, yet it carried the weight of years lost. She stepped closer, trembling, her hand reaching for his. I knew you would. I knew your heart never forgot. Clara's face went pale. She stumbled back, her hands flying to her mouth. No, this can't be happening. This is my wedding. My life. Langford's calm demeanor faltered for the first time. His lips pressed into a thin line, his eyes flickering with something almost like fear. David, wait. You don't understand. I understand perfectly, David interrupted, his voice shaking but firm. He turned fully toward the mysterious woman, his gaze locking with hers. Memories crashed back in vivid waves, the nights they spent talking under the stars, the stolen laughter, the promises whispered in secret. Every detail, every touch, every look, it all came flooding back. You were taken from me, David whispered, his voice raw with emotion. And I? I was blind to it all. The mysterious woman stepped forward, her face streaked with tears. I never stopped loving you, David. I never left, not really. And now we can fix it. Clara's voice broke into a scream, echoing across the hall. Fix it? How? You've stolen everything from me. My wedding. My life. He was mine. A hush fell over the crowd. Guests were frozen, some gripping chairs, others clutching their phones as they recorded every explosive moment. The air was thick with tension, heartbreak, and disbelief. Langford's hands tightened into fists. David, think carefully. If you turn to her, everything you've built, everything you promised, will collapse. Are you willing to risk it all? David looked at Clara. Her face, once radiant, was now contorted with anger, confusion, and heartbreak. He looked at the mysterious woman, his lost love, the echo of his past, the truth of his heart. He closed his eyes, taking a deep breath, feeling every heartbeat, every memory, every emotion collide in a storm within him. When he opened his eyes, the hall fell utterly silent. Every guest leaned forward. Every whisper stopped. Every breath was held. David raised his hand, pointing. And then, before he could speak, the The chandelier above them swayed violently, a loud crack echoing as sparks rained down. Gasps filled the hall. Guests screamed, ducking for cover. The lights flickered. In that moment, chaos erupted. The wedding, everything, was thrown into sudden panic. And in the midst of it, the truth, the lies, and the lost love hung suspended, waiting for a choice that could destroy or redeem them all. The hall was no longer just a place of celebration, it was a battlefield of hearts, secrets, and memories that refused to stay buried. Chaos filled the hall. Guests scrambled as sparks from the swaying chandelier rained down. David grabbed both women's hands, pulling them close to him, shielding them instinctively. "Stop! Listen to me," he shouted, his voice cutting through the panic. The room gradually stilled, eyes wide, everyone frozen in tension. He turned first to Clara. "Clara, you are kind, and you truly love me. But, my heart, it belongs to her." He looked at the mysterious woman, tears streaming down both their faces. "I remember everything now. And I can't deny it. I can't betray the truth of who I am." Clara sank into a chair, shaking, her lips trembling. I don't understand," she whispered, her voice breaking. The guests gave her space, some sympathetic, others shocked. David took the mysterious woman's hands fully in his own. "You were taken from me, but I never forgot. We'll face everything together, no matter the past, no matter the pain." Langford, standing frozen in the corner, finally spoke, his voice low and defeated. "It seems, my plan failed." He turned and walked out, the weight of his schemes unraveling. The mysterious woman stepped forward, finally revealing her name, Lila. "It's over now," she said softly, leaning into David's embrace. "We can start again." The hall was quiet for a moment, then slowly, applause began, hesitant at first, then growing, as the guests realized the truth had been revealed and justice had quietly triumphed over deception. Clara, tears in her eyes, finally nodded. I understand," she said softly. "I hope you both find happiness." Her words were heavy, but genuine, and in that moment, the tension eased slightly. David and Lila held each other tightly, hearts finally aligned, knowing that even through lies, loss, and betrayal, love had found its way back. The wedding hall, once a stage for confusion and heartbreak, now glimmered with a new beginning, one that no one would ever forget. And as the string quartet cautiously resumed its music, David whispered to Lila, "This time, we do it right." Lila smiled through her tears. "Yes, together."